Welcome to the first official video, Ask Belle. And of course, this is live, so things like cats walking through the video are going to happen because, this is real life here. Let's see here. So, I'm going to start with the first question I got on the Ask Belle, the Google form that I had sent out, and that is available for you to go out and ask questions on. Our first question is, how do I stop going through the same vicious cycle of going through job after job, binge drinking every 3 to 6 months on and off meds? I've been seeing a lot of people that have been helping me since the summer of 2025, and it doesn't seem to stick at all. I feel I lost a lot of friends lately, and now my family is finally done with me, to the point they don't want to see me. Worried for this coming summer with my family. That is like a 100% real legit issue, right? When we are still stuck in that cycle, right? And we're trying to figure out how to get out. And it's even harder, especially when our family members are being affected, right? And they are putting up boundaries and throwing up hands and being like, I don't know what else to do with you, right? That is not an easy place to be. That whole feeling of being alone, of being not wanted, of feeling unloved, that is such a hard and difficult place to be. So for you who wrote in, okay, I feel you, and you are not alone, because this is a space where so many people get caught up and they get stuck. For real, okay? So when I worked in residential treatment, I saw this a lot, because by the time you get into residential treatment, okay, a lot of the times it's an ultimatum, right? I've seen fewer than I would like of people that walked into like a residential treatment going, I need help. I realized I need help, and I'm here all on my own. Can you tell that's about as fake as my smile right now? Yeah, because that's the reality of it, right? And those folks, those clients that I worked with, they had some pretty complicated relationships by that point in time, right? Mothers and fathers who are just scared out of their minds, don't know what to do, and are putting their hands up and saying, I can't do this anymore. Spouses, loved ones, kids, all of those connections can be so difficult. But here's the thing, they still love you. Yeah, they do. They still love you. Okay? But love in all its forms can be a really complicated thing at the same time, right? Because when you love someone, you don't want to see them destroy themselves. You don't want to see them destroy the possibility of them having a good and happy life, right? So a lot of the times our family members, our loved ones, they get scared. And they also hurt because of our addiction, right? Addiction is a family disease, right? That's what I've heard for years. But regardless if you believe the disease model or not, it does, okay? Because you are a human being. Somebody loves you, right? You came from somewhere, regardless. If it's your family or your friends or your team that you work with, it doesn't matter. And when you love and you care about somebody, when they hurt, you hurt, right? It's kind of like parents going through a custody battle, right? So many times parents don't realize that this fighting between the two of them kills the kids in the middle, right? When you're stuck in addiction and you're feeling all of that pain, the people that love you are feeling that pain with you. Now, in a different type of way, right? But there's still that pain and that emotional link that gets left. So the biggest thing I can say to you is that, one, you have to be ready to change, right? So, one, I want you to ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want this behavior to change? Are you ready for it to change? Now, those are two different questions, okay? wanting something to change. Most of us want something to change, to be different, right? For our lives to be better, for us not to be stuck in the same cycle, right? Not going to jail, or not having family issues, or not being sick from using, right? Any of the consequences that come with that. But being ready for that change is totally different, okay? Because you have to actually be ready to not only know the things you have to change, but to take that next step and have action in that. Which leads us to our next one. Knowing better versus doing better. Double-edged sword, okay? You can have all of the knowledge in the world, right? All of the knowledge. You can be the smartest person out there. It doesn't mean that you don't have problems, right? It doesn't. What it means is that you have the knowledge. But if you don't do anything with that knowledge, if you don't take an action on it and set something up to change, then nothing is going to change. Hard truth. And most of us realize this, right? But in that moment, in those moments where we're stuck in that same old cycle, it's a really difficult thing between knowing better and doing better, right? So, again, to my person who wrote it, okay? Do you want to change? Are you ready to change? Do you have what you need to change? Okay. Putting together the support and the system around you to actually support that change. And this is another one that's really hard, okay? Because the system is not set up to support people trying to change their lives all the time, right? It's just not. We know this. Between the criminal justice system and society and culture and everything else, it's not an easy place, okay? But setting yourself up and having that team around you, right? And I don't mean like the traditional treatment team. I mean your true team of people that are going to support you, people that will believe in you, people that will stand up beside you, people that will ask you the hard questions and push you to do the uncomfortable. And that doesn't have to be professionals, right? That could be mentors. That could be part of your treatment team. That could be social workers. That could be people that you meet at meetings or support groups that you go to. It could be that random person that you meet out there in the universe that you have no idea why you met them, right? But something about that person clicked and they added that extra layer of stability to you and to your life. Okay. It is possible to have those long-lasting changes, but it takes a lot of work and it takes time. And the process is so incredibly different for every single one of us. It's one of the reasons that I truly fight the system, so to speak, and go against the grain, right? Because in most models of like treatment and recovery, right, it's you do this, and then 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 boom, you're good. Magic. Does not work that way. Okay. I've worked in this field long enough. I came from this field, right? Like I was a meth addict, well, an addict of pretty much everything, right? And it's never just that simple. So, what do we have to work on to actually have long lasting change? That's a great question. Well, it takes everything I've already mentioned, right? And you have to figure out why and what is damaged within you, right? The things that we've gone through, the experiences that we've had, the trauma, right? The hurt, the pain. You have to actually go through that and sift through that and figure out what are those things that you've experienced in your life or been through that truly lead you to trying to fix it in the best way you know how, which is honestly what addiction breaks down to, right? So if you think of addiction as the symptom instead of the disease. Okay? I don't think I'm good enough. I was adopted. My mom and dad didn't even want me. Who would want me now? Right? That core belief of not being good enough will roll down throughout your entire life, right? And stay with you and keep you trying to fix that in whichever way you can, or to satisfy that need, right? If I surround myself with enough people who think I'm amazing, even if it's a tough situation, I'm okay. Because then nobody's going to leave me. So I'll share with you this, okay? This is some of the insight that I've learned over the years, okay? Huge codependency issues ever since I was young, right? Young, like high school, if not a little younger, right? I was a little caretaker, took care of everyone, right? But I was also that little baby that was adopted. So when I was an infant, okay, after my mom and dad had me, my mom and dad had already broken up. I was found, from what I understand and what I was told, I was found in her apartment, trailer, whatever it was, right? By myself, alone, in a crib with a bottle of water. And it was not really known how long I was there by myself. I think the estimates were like 1 to 2 days, maybe shorter, maybe longer. This is back in 83. There's not a lot of records, okay? And my aunt and my grandma came over to the house and found me and then took me. Okay, so I was adopted by my grandparents, raised by them. Didn't find out I was adopted into my own family until I was like 12, right? Super whole tangled tangled mess of spiderweb weaves, okay? However, in my adult life, looking back at my codependency, my addictions that sprung from that as well, right? It was my internal fear of not being enough and my abandonment issues that led to everything else. It led to wanting to cling on to men, cling on to sex, cling on to being the life of the party, being fake, telling lies to impress people or to get people to think I was better than I really was, never feeling that me as a person was ever going to be truly good enough. Drugs, alcohol, sex, men made me feel like I was better than I thought I was, which is one of the reasons I started using drugs and alcohol and sex and all that other stuff to begin with. Interesting, huh? Okay. But I didn't figure that out until I was like in my 30s. Okay. And I'm 42 now. I'll be 43 this year. Like legitly. Okay. And I didn't even probably finish processing that stuff all out until I was closer to 40. Right. So what I'm saying is that it's not just about the addiction. It's not just about whether it's sex or gambling or food or substances or alcohol or codependency, a partner, whatever your addiction is, look at it as the symptom of being something bigger, something here, right? Something here. I watched a movie once, and I've shared this before, but I don't know if you guys have heard this, but it was an older movie, 90s, maybe early 2000s, called like Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I know it sounds great, right? But it was kind of one of those spoofy movies where it makes fun of other movies. And the main character is like, walks up to this person and he's like, "Wapow!" and like punches him like right here, right? And like drills a whole hole through his chest, right? You can like see through it and everything. It's like, woohoo. That's kind of what we all walk around with as adults. If we haven't worked on ourselves and if we haven't realized that we have like holes through us like Swiss cheese, emotionally speaking, right? But us as people, we don't know how to fix those things, especially right away, especially if it happens in childhood or your teenage years or even your young adult years. It doesn't come with an instruction booklet to be like, oh, by the way, when you have this thing that happens to you, you need to fix it or you're going to be right. Life does not come with that instruction booklet. Good Lord, I wish it did. We'd all be better off, but it doesn't happen that way. So the reality of it is that we spend a lot of our time trying to figure out what kind of band-aids, right, that we can put on those holes inside of us. Whether it's I'm going to work and I'm going to be a high achiever, whether it's I'm feeling lonely and low and I just want to eat a whole bunch of food, whether it's I am so lonely and I don't know what to do and I want to be social. If I go out and I drink, at least I know the anxiety will drift away and I'll be able to go out and have fun and people will like me, right? Those are the symptoms and the coping mechanisms of those bigger issues. Okay? Now that's a lot I've given you in like 15 minutes already here this morning, right? But a lot of the times, the things that we have learned to do in our active addiction, and again, it doesn't matter if it's substances, alcohol, sex, gambling, porn, doesn't matter what it is, right? The internet, AI is a big addiction now these days. Man, I'm telling you, one of my mentors, Dr. Adi Jaffe, is putting out some amazing information about AI and addiction right now. Check it out. He's on LinkedIn, all over out there. But our addictions are going to be a symptom of something else. So do yourself a kindness, okay? Because the world gets stuck so often on that addiction is this moral failing of character, right? Oh, you're an addict? Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you need Jesus? Like, and no offense to anybody out there that's religious, okay? Because religion and spirituality, okay, two different things, but spirituality plays a huge part in the human existence, regardless of what it is. And trust me, because I am not religious, but I believe in ancient aliens and universal energy, and I am spiritual, okay? I'm not like, praying to rock deities or anything like that, but there is something way more complicated than what I understand out there. Like, I don't think all of this happened by like oops accidents, right? But it does really take digging in and trying to figure out why we are trying to cope in the way we are, okay? And if you think about it, the impulsive decisions we make, shopping addictions, right? Eating something comforting, listening to your favorite music, like those are all coping skills. Okay? Smoking a cigarette's a coping skill. Not the healthy one, right? But it is. Smoking methamphetamine was a coping skill for me. Not gonna lie. Did it turn into a physical addiction, mentally and physically? Oh yeah. Hardcore. But that's not what it started out as. It started out as a way of, I need to feel better and I don't know how, and I'm going to grab whatever's there. Because we all don't grow up or we all don't live in an environment where the tools are that handy. So think about this. Ready? Forgive yourself for not knowing better at the time. Forgive yourself for using the tools that you had on hand. Forgive yourself for not knowing better at the time. Let it go. Learn from it. And remember that you now have the opportunity to choose something different moving forward. Yeah. Now, is it always going to happen that you make the next right choice, right? No, none of us are perfect. Okay. But you could try, and most of us will do pretty well. So, one of the simplest things I often tell clients when I'm working with them, right, is that stop thinking about things this big. Okay. Because that's overwhelming and it causes anxiety and it freaks us out and it's scary. Start small, okay? It's one of the reasons, like, my mantra truly is progress is progress. Because we need to stop looking at progress being these huge, giant, freaking unobtainable, unrealistic leaps. Now, does it happen like that? You know what? Not gonna lie. Sometimes we make these huge leaps and it's like, whoa, just happened. But most of the time, our movements forward are so small and can be so or feel so insignificant that we don't register them. We don't truly believe that we're making any progress. Perfectionism runs in that, right? Thank you for the love. But it's more than that, okay? Nothing is ever going to be perfect. Throw that idea out of your head, okay? And if you have trouble with that, I have two amazing little workshops on my school community. One is the 7-day Messy Progress Challenge, and the other one is um, a Messy Progress Challenge, but it's a much longer version of that, much more in-depth in detail. Okay, and if you join my school community, those are free to you right now, at least until we get 100 members, and then the paywall goes up. Okay, but they're still free for now. Okay, because I want to make sure as many people as possible can get those. All right. But we need to stop pretending that everything is fine. We need to stop pretending that we can handle everything by ourselves. Okay. We need to stop pretending that we got this all the time because none of us do. Okay. And learn that it's okay. It's okay to take small, tiny little steps. It's okay to step backwards every once in a while. It's okay to fuck up as long as we keep learning from it. It's okay to not feel perfect. It's okay to feel unsure of yourself. It's okay to not know if this is going to work. And it's okay to doubt because those are natural things that we're all going to go through. But this is why I'm trying to create spaces like this so that we can go to places, right? So that you can come to a place and be like, well, you know what? This is not working, right? Or boy, did I up today. To come to a place with no judgment, with no stigma, to not have to walk in and be like, oh, I'm so fucking ashamed of myself. How am I going to tell anybody any of this? What am I going to do? I'm such a fucking loser. Come on now. You're being way too hard on yourself. And how do I know this? Because I did the same shit. I treated myself in the same way. I didn't believe in myself in the same way. I didn't think change was possible. I didn't believe that I deserved it, first and foremost. Thank you for the love. But you know what? I did. One of the most influential things I would tell people when I worked with them in residential recovery, right, is that I'd have everybody in a group, 20 to 30 people sitting in a circle, right, because that's the group thing. And it didn't matter how long those clients had been there, right, is that I could go through that room, even if they got there that first day, right, and I could personally go around that room and tell them something amazing about themselves, right? And everybody like, oh my God, how do you do that? Because I sat in the same chair and I know you have the same strengths and I know we have the same weaknesses. And guess what? I know that it's going to be okay. So let me tell you that and let me instill some of that in you, right? And the biggest thing is to remember is this, okay? And I truly believe this. And I think a lot of people that work in this field do, but we don't say it enough. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care if you have 1,000 friends or one friend. I don't care what you've done in your past. I don't care what you're going to do in your future. Right now, in this space, here and now, you are a human being who deserves peace, happiness, love, stability, joy, and to actually live a life worth living. Was that hard to hear? I hope not. But if it was hard to hear, that's okay. I remember what that feels like. But it's true. Even if you don't believe it right now, okay? Because it really, really is. So, I have spieled a lot today, right? But to that person who sent me that question in the Ask Belle form, thank you so much for sending it. I hope that what I shared this morning gives you a little inspiration and a little hope and lets you know that you are not alone out there. Okay? I truly hope you see this. Okay? I do want to let you guys know that I do have the Ask Belle forum right now open. I'm going to be answering your questions both weekly live, right? And I'm also going to be answering your questions through the blog. Okay? So it's a really easy Google form. It's listed up on the blog. I can also share it. DM me if you need it. I will send it to you. But I kind of want to open the floor and see if anybody has any questions today. Questions about addiction, mental health, stigma, shame, breaking it, how to deal with it. Like, where are you at today and how the hey are you doing? I know some of you are out there. I know you're watching because I can see you on the side over here. So, any questions you have today? Anything going on in your life that you want to talk about? Like, I'm all ears. Like, I'm totally here, right? Like, I want to give you this space and this time. Like, if you do have questions, I think some of the most common ones I get are how do you deal with triggers and cravings? Oh, Lord. And there's the whole, people, places, things. Yeah. Well, not all of us can avoid people, places, things, or completely change some of those patterns. But some of the easiest things I tell people, especially in this day and age, is look, Walmart curbside pick up your groceries. Everybody in the world goes to Walmart. You know you're going to see somebody in there you don't want to see or get into a situation you don't want to be in. Curbside pickup or delivery. Okay. Gas stations, pay at the pump. You don't have to go into the gas station. Okay. Get your candy bar at Walmart. Curbside pickup. Okay. But it's also learning to really look at it and examine truly what your triggers are and why they're a trigger. And that comes back at looking again at those core beliefs, right? Those things that are inside of us that trip their little trigger every time one of these situations comes up or a topic, So triggers are definitely not always an easy thing. But I'll tell you what, like we all have them, we all get them. I still get them to this day, even like 10 years out from meth, right? Sometimes it doesn't come on like, oh, I want to smoke meth today, right? But it's more like, I am agitated beyond belief and I cannot get rid of it, right? Sometimes they're that subtle, okay? The one thing about triggers is that they will come and they will go. So there was this whole spiel I learned at one point about urge surfing, right? And like surfing the urge, it comes in like a wave and it crests and then it goes back down. True beans, okay? Now, that's not always the metaphor that works with everybody, but cravings will come, cravings will go, right? They get better, they get worse. But truly learning to examine those and look at them will definitely help you. And whatever way helps, whether it's talking to someone like me, just having support people in your world of some kind that you can talk to. We live in the age of AI, okay? This online platform I work with called Ignited, IGNTD, right? Dr. Jaffe I was talking about earlier. So we actually have a chatbot on our platform now that is smart. I'll tell you what, like this chatbot is pretty damn smart. Well, we're also feeding it from the professional side, right? But there's a lot of those options out there right now. There are apps, there are programs, there are websites, there are all of these different things out there. Everything from don't ever use alone, where you can call or video somebody when you are using so that if something happens, they could reach out to 911, overdose of, awareness, all that stuff, right? There are groups that you can just go into and like fall asleep to if you need to, like meditation groups. With all the technology and the platforms out there today, there's always a way to find support if you take the action to find it. Okay. But here's the one thing that they don't tell you. Okay. Not all support is good support. And you need to find support that actually clicks and works for you. Because if you try to go and do support and it's in a very cookie cutter way and it just doesn't feel right to you, you're not going to keep going. It's not going to be something that sticks. It's not going to be something that you feel comfortable with, and it's not going to be something that you continue to do or use. It's probably one of my biggest fights with traditional treatment right now is the cookie cutter version of treatment that is all over. Okay, and I get it. There's a reason for that model. It comes down to money most of the times, I'll be honest with you. Any treatment center that gets federal dollars is a 12-step based treatment center because it is the oldest system and the system with the most evidence to support that it works. Not because it's the right one for everyone, right? But because it is the tried and true tested way. But I've seen so many people fall through the cracks because of that. So, if nothing else, please know that whatever program you work, whatever tips and tricks and direction and therapy or support that you use, right? Make sure it is actually going to work for you. And you know this, okay? Like you can usually feel it in your gut, all right? Now, if it's just that you're uncomfortable because you know you should do something and you don't want to do it, okay, that's a difference, right? But if it is, okay, I am never going to go outside and yell at a tree, but I could sit in my house and go in the shower and cry my eyes out and scream and yell. It's really taking all of the tools and the tips and the tricks that you get bombarded with from everywhere, right? Because there's a lot of information out there about all this stuff. Take those tools, take that information, and individualize it out for you, right? Make it realistic, authentic, your flavor, your style, right? So that it will actually work for you. Otherwise, there's a lot of us out there that are wasting time trying to do things that are never going to work for us because it isn't part of who we are at all, not even down to our core. But if you can take some of those things that are shown that they do work, right, in a lot of different situations or scenarios with a lot of different other people, and truly mold those to yourself, beautiful, magical things can happen. I went to Overeaters Anonymous once and left crying, never went back. It was all ask God for help. Bible readings, nothing about me and my individual needs. Yes, Deborah, that is so true. And that's what I'm talking about to some of those traditional ways, right? Any Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, whatever it is, right? Those are truly 12-step based models. Now, there's good things in all of those models, but you have to take what works for you and leave the rest. And that's really hard sometimes in those social settings and situations, especially when you feel so much pressure from the other people there that are like, join us, join. It could feel a little culty, okay? Not going to lie, okay? And please don't think I'm trolling 12 steps cults because they're not, okay? But, yes, but, I see that, Deb. If you take it and individualize it for you, okay, that's what works, okay? But that's hard to do when you have like a very overwhelming, overpowering group, all right? That's really difficult, okay? So if you're going to try groups, my suggestion is go to as many as you can, find different ones. Yeah, that's the hardest part, Deb, right? Is that you must say this and listen to this and do this. No, that doesn't work. And for those groups, those aren't the groups you want to go to, unless that is a true fit for you. So go group shopping. Okay, if you're going to do groups, support groups of any kind, go group shopping. Okay, because you need to find the group and the people that are actually going to fit for you and what you're trying to do, which is hard because if you live I live in rural northern Wisconsin, okay? It's 30 to 45 minutes to go anywhere, okay, where there's like populations of people, okay? So there's not a lot of options, okay? However, we live in the digital technology age. And Deb, you being here speaks perfectly to that example, right? We can now use technology to connect to different people and different places and different things that we never could before, which is pretty amazing. I have to say, I really do love it. Why? Because for me personally, that means I can reach people and I can talk to people from almost anywhere. And as crazy as that is, it's an amazing thing because there's so many of us that don't live in a big city, right? That don't have necessarily the ability to have all these resources near us. So to be able to look at them and find them online and find truly what speaks and works for us, it's an exciting time that we do live in. Okay. So, yeah, if anything else, find what works for you, individualize it for you, look beyond the surface, have patience with yourself. Okay. I tell people with kids all the time, especially if you have kids, like this one resonates. As patient as you had to be watching your kids learn and grow at times, right? You have to have that much patience with yourself through processes like this. Because you're still growing and learning and changing. And again, there's no such thing as perfect, right? Never is going to be, okay? None of us are, okay? It's not going to happen, right? I'm a professional, right? Not perfect, right? But healthy enough to work with people and help them come from where they are to where they want to be. And that's the goal. I think that's the goal for any of us. My cat's about to make another appearance, so sorry. And if I try to hurry her, she'll just create chaos and knock things over here in my office. I mean, yeah, I'm still here. I'm drinking Monster. Cat's running all over my house. Nothing's perfect, right? So, lots of stuff we've talked about already today. We do have a few minutes left before I have to go and run to my next group of the day, which I host on the Ignited platform. We have Friday wins and struggles today, so I'm excited about that always. But I wanted to, again, put it out there if anybody has any questions, comments, statements, things you love, things you hate about the live, agree with, don't agree with. I am one of those people, I'm so open-minded. If you don't agree with something I say, I'm totally open. Like, let's talk about it. I am not always right. Strength and a weakness, right? I don't know everything. I know I don't know everything, right? So is there anything going on in your lives? Anything you're struggling with? Anything that's really, really been an issue as of late? Just in our final moments, I just want to put that out there in case anybody does have any questions or if there's anything going on. Deb, Raw, huge shout out to you. Thank you so much for being here for the live again. Your support is amazing. I just want to know that you are so appreciated. So appreciative. I like watching your channel. Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate it. So it'll be interesting what it was like now starting out versus what it's going to be like in 6 months, eh? Ooh, we'll have to compare and contrast. You look so confident. Okay. You want to know a secret? I'll tell you one. I may look all confident and cool and like okay about being on camera, but I'll be honest, I'm terrified. I'm so terrified. So terrified. In the back of my mind, the tape that plays is don't say something stupid or all these people are going to think you're a fraud. Oh, yeah. The imposter syndrome, it's still there at times. It's a whole lot better than it used to be. But I think when you have people in the live, Deb, that are, sending you love and that are asking questions or doing comments, that really opens it up and breaks it up a lot. And I know, right? Um, that a lot of the time too, I love what I do. I love what I do. And I believe in what I do. One, because I'm a person that's come from it and I'm on the other side continuing to work on things. Two, I have hope for our next generations. Okay. My children are products of two addicts, right? Who went through some pretty horrific things before the ages of 4 and 5. But I see my children growing and blossoming and learning lessons in middle school that probably myself and their dad were learning in our 20s, with more understanding and compassion than I could ever imagine them ever having, which is amazing. Plus, I believe in what I'm doing. I think there's a niche for it. I think there's a need for it. I think people are looking for something different. And I truly just want to be that person I wish I would have had early on. That's probably the biggest driving force in all of it. Plus, I want to break that corporate medical model mold of what addiction is and look beyond what's on paper to really what's going on with people, right? Because I think that's much more of a humanistic way to look at it. But also, I was more than just a name and a medical number. Like, I'm a human being and a person with like feelings and emotions and like all of that other stuff. And I don't ever want to treat people like a name and a number on a piece of paper, because we're all more than that. So, with that being said, okay, I do have to get ready for my next group, but I had so much fun on the live today. Deborah, thank you so much for being here. Yolanda, I know you were here earlier too. Paul, Nick, Keegan, Michael, like everybody that hopped into the live today. Thank you for being here, whether you were here and watched a minute or you were here and watched 40. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I will post in my Substack notes again. I'll post about the Ask Belle experts and when we're going to have that. Hello, Tom. You're coming in here right at the end, but it is so amazing to see you. So definitely don't be afraid to reach out. We're going to be doing the Ask Belle, right, live. It's going to be 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on Fridays. So I hope to see you here next week. Please reach out, send me your questions, comments, your feedback. Okay, whether it's anonymous, whether you want to put your name associated with it, whatever you're going to feel comfortable with, I will be here. Okay, so I hope you all have an amazing rest of your Friday. Have a beautiful weekend. Okay, I'm going to leave you with a last note. Please do something nice for yourself after today. Okay, either later today or sometime this weekend. Do something that will fill your cup back up, that will bring you some peace and some happiness and some joy, right? And some purpose. Whether that's eating something green, whether it's taking a bubble bath, whether it's just going for a walk or a drive in nature, whatever you need in the next 72 hours, please do something good for yourself, right? And if you want, please come back and share that with me. Send me a message, send me a DM. Let me know what you did for you over the weekend. Okay? All right, Deborah. Again, so good to see you all. Thank you so much for watching my live. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And don't forget, progress is progress, whether it's a mile or a millimeter.